Hello. Hi, just checking that you can hear me and that you're all online. It's 7 o'clock, so the webinar's about to start. Just to check, could you please just write in on the right-hand side, you should see chat. Could you just write down your name and whereabouts in the country or the world you are attending from? That'd be fantastic. Just also let me know if you can hear me as well. Okay, we've got myself, we've got Mav, we've got Janet, we've got Elka, we've got Julie. Hello. Thank you for joining me today on 7 Steps to Creating the Greatest Version of You webinar. So if you have any questions throughout this webinar, please just do type in the box. Please do just say hello, make yourself known. Any comments that you want to make, brilliant, thank you. Any comments that you want to make, any questions that you have, please do check the box. I can't see the box the entire time, but there will be time at the end to ask questions and I will chat with you at the end. So thank you very much for joining. We will get started. Okay, so this webinar, as you know, is called 7 Steps to Creating the Greatest Version of You, which actually is a half-day workshop that I run in South Kensington. It's a monthly event. Today is a webinar, and this is going to give you a little taster of what the actual workshop is about. There is also, I did send you all a short PDF exercise workbook for you to work through as I go through the slides. If you don't have that and you haven't managed to print that out, that is not a problem at all. All the exercises will be on the screen, so do let me know. Okay. So let's start with a couple of questions here. Who wants more positivity in their lives? Who wants to learn how to tap into their inner power? Who wants to be the greatest version of themselves? If this is you, type a big fat yes in the box so that I know we're on the right track and you are attending the correct webinar. Excellent. Okay, so just a little bit about me, really. I thought I was a woman who knew myself. I was brought up to be strong, tough and independent. I learnt from a young age to put others before myself. In doing so, I lost myself in the journey to adulthood. I dated the wrong men. I was attracted to men who would love me and leave me, and I was attracted to men who would leave me emotionally wounded. I was attracted to the mysterious, broken men who deep down I knew could never give me what I wanted. I always felt ashamed of my failure in the love department. People would ask me, so what happened to such and such? And it was always, you know, quick, oh, never mind, he's gone, let's move on, next one. But one day I decided that I wanted to claim my story in order to empower others. So in 2012, I put my hand up and I admitted to having a decade of dating disasters. I was an ex-self-confessed Mr. Wrong magnet. I'm a natural healer and nurturer, and I realised I'd spent so much time dating and coaching men to be the greatest versions of themselves, and in the process, forgot my own worth, my own value, and my own values. I realised in life, if we keep on attracting the same type of people, situations and circumstances into our lives, then a journey must start within. As Einstein says, insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results or expecting a different outcome. I found this empowering and I decided to start a journey that allowed me to examine, question and challenging some of my own belief systems about love, relationships and most importantly, myself. In 2012, I decided, I decided that I was going to write a book. So I published my very first book called Mr. Wrong, which is a collection of dating stories, dating and relationship stories written by women across the world who've encountered this infamous Mr. Wrong character. But more than that, it was through the sharing, through the sharing of our stories, I wanted to unite, inspire and empower women. But I wanted it to be more than that. I wanted it to be a journey, a positive journey to self-discovery. I wanted it to enable women through exercises, reflections and meditations to actually look at why these things are happening, why we're attracting these things and what is going on within rather than blaming externally. Just to add as well, there are success stories in there and stories from men as well to give a different perspective. Now, I found that there are a lot of women in the same position of me, and before I knew it, I had women from America, Canada, Australia, England, sending me in their stories. And after 2 years, having kind of got quite obsessed with finding out, working out the publishing process and what it takes to publish a book, I actually set up my own publishing company and published this book, which went on to be a bestseller on Amazon in its first day of publish, which was fantastic, obviously. From there, I then started to run this workshop, 7 Steps to Creating the Greatest Version of You, which is all about, it's not about, how to get a man, what to do to get a man. I believe there's so many books and so many manuals and so many bits of literature telling us how we should be, but I found that there wasn't much literature, there wasn't much empowering work helping us or guiding us or teaching us how to tap into our inner power in order to be the greatest version for ourselves. Because I believe that we can only ever attract great things until we're actually great and perfect for ourselves, if that makes sense. Too often we seek externally for answers. Too often we venture outside of ourselves for answers we already have within. Too often we seek approval and permission. Permission to fulfill our dreams, permission to be loved, permission to shine our lights, permission to be our amazing, authentic selves. I realised that there was a bit of a gap here, especially for women as well, where we're trying to balance things in our lives. We're trying to do so many things. We're trying to be so many different roles to so many different people. There wasn't anything out there that actually helped us to discover how we can use our inner power to be the greatest version of ourselves. So hence, testimonials before we start. What I want to do so is just to go back. What's great about this workshop is it's quite intimate. It's between 10 and 12 women. We share a space. We do individual, paired and group exercises. It's lots of fun. As you can see from this testimonial, there's lots of positive energy. It really is a great experience. And my job in this workshop is to facilitate you tapping into your own inner power. And what's great is so many women kind of walk away being friends and creating a really positive network of women who want to progress. Okay, this image you can see is the end. At the end of the workshop, we actually create vision boards. So we set our intentions, we do a range of exercises, which I'll go into in more detail. We look at values, we talk about the effects of our thoughts, words and actions and images in our lives. And at the end, we create vision boards and present them to the group, which is, for me, I think it's one of the really, really exciting parts of the workshop. So again, this lovely lady saying it was a great experience with lots of warm, friendly women, lots of amazing energy. Within the practice, within the workshop, we actually practice EFT, which we're not going to get into today. It's a different version of EFT, which stands for Emotional Freedom Tapping technique. This is positive EFT. So we practice that as a group, and there's been some absolutely fantastic results. I've never used it for physical ailments. I've used it for belief systems and creating more energy. And really shocked to find out that somebody came on the very first one that we did. She had a really bad backache and she's had it for ages. When we did the group tapping, she said that her pain had completely gone, and has since then. It's been a couple of months now. It was absolutely fantastic. I wish it would work for me. Okay, here's another image here of two lovely ladies, Simone and Sam, doing their vision boards. And Simone's actually a fantastic testament. As she says in her full-length testimonial, she says that she felt quite dubious and uncertain, and she actually came away and had such a fantastic time. She's coming back again for this workshop, which is great. And the feedback from her has been brilliant. She says she's been using her vision board affirmations regularly, and she feels so much more positive. Things that used to bother her don't bother her so much anymore. She's absolutely fantastic. And the workshop is actually something that you can take away. It's not a one-day thing. It's not a half-a-day thing. It's not a throwaway thing. It's you have a whole workbook. You take it away. We do some of the exercises in the workbook. There's not time to go through the entire workbook. But the beauty of it is that it's something you can take away and use in your own space and time. I still do my exercises. I still use it now, and I published this back in March. Okay. And again, these vision boards are something that you can actually take away, use at home, have them in your room, or a really lovely space in your living room, wherever you want to put them at work. Okay. This is a beautiful testimonial from Maeve. Now, Maeve Crawford is an amazing lady. She's a relationship healer and educator, and she has got the most soothing, relaxing, beautiful, healing voice. In my book, Mr. Wrong, there's a forgiveness meditation, which I'll talk about in a bit more detail later on. And in every, my book launch and every book tour I've done, she's selflessly come down and read out this meditation with powerful effects. She also comes down to the workshop and reads out this meditation. And there's just something about the way she delivers it and her voice that really, really is touching. And she actually wrote an entire blog about the 7 steps to creating the greatest version of you workshop, that was fantastic. I mean, what's even more fantastic is that when we were practicing the positive EFT, she said that she felt that she had tapped on a belief system that was blocking her or holding her back about self-belief. And once she managed to go home and tackle this, she actually got the courage and found the kind of strength to get up and set up her own event. So she's actually got, I'm plugging her event here, she's actually got a relationship breakthrough event next Saturday, which I'm going to. And I'm so pleased for her, because she's just so talented and so healing and has a lot to offer, especially to women. Nerve. I found one of the most common factors of this is unfulfilled goals, broken dreams, lack of time, lack of support, lack of belief. Personally, I think lack of belief is one of the biggest things that hold us back. Yes, sometimes, especially as women, we are balancing so many different roles, so many different things with mother, child, wife, sister, auntie, some of us are trying to set up our businesses, some of us are, trying to working, trying to cover career, so many things that we're trying to do. And yes, lack of time is a problem. Yes, lack of support is also a problem. But I think the biggest issue here is a lack of self-belief, which is why I want to look at why the thoughts that we think and the words that we speak and how we speak to ourselves really, really have an impact in what actually shows up in our lives. This leads me to unguarded thought process. So unguarded thought processes. One of the quotes I really like is it's a Buddhist quote, and it's, "Your worst enemy cannot harm you as much as your own unguarded thoughts." That's your worst enemy cannot harm you as much as your own unguarded thoughts. When we think positively about ourselves, and when we think positively about outcomes or the things that we put into our lives, then we match that vibration, and that vibration and that what we are thinking of really does gravitate towards us. So if we're thinking negative things, those things will manifest in our lives. If we're thinking positive things, those things will also manifest in our life. Solutions. Okay, so this is where the 7 steps come in. So I'm going to go through them really briefly, and then we'll break them down over each section. So W stands for, what are my values? Values are really important, because if we don't know what our values are, our life can go off kilter. There's so many times where I've mixed and gone into relationships, or I've gone into situations and not thinking I know what my values are, but not really actually being aware of what they really are, who I really am, not knowing what my needs, wants, and desires are. So W is for, what are my values? O is for, own your needs, wants, and desires. M is for, manifest my intentions. E is for, exercise forgiveness. N is for, nightly gratitude. R is for, reawaken my vision. And the heart is for, love, life, laugh, and that's my favourite. Okay, so if you have your PDF books on you, there's an exercise. On one page you have a list of values. If you don't have this, I want you to think about values in your life. So values are, just going to give you time to get your books. So values are the core beliefs and principles that you live by, or personal moral code. Just as the word value comes from the word worth, our values should reflect what we deem worthy. So values are things like love, compassion, respect, diligence, integrity, joy, loyalty, maturity, openness, perseverance, reflection, virtue, willingness, wisdom. All of these things are values. What I want you to do is, there are lots of values on your paper. I think you've got about 50. I want you to try and whittle them down to 10, just 10. When I did this, it took me quite a while. I was starring at about 20, then I had to double star them to really work out what was important to me. The purpose of this exercise is to really be clear about what is important to you, why it's important to you. As you're writing down the values, I want you to think about where you need and what you want to experience, where you need and want to experience more of this value in your life, and how you can demonstrate it more. So I'm going to give you some time to do this. I'm going to give you about 5 minutes. Okay, so I think that's enough time. It doesn't matter if you, even if you've got your top 5, that's not a problem. That's brilliant. When I did mine, I found that integrity was my number 1. Integrity because for me, just being true to who I am and everything that I do and everything I say and everything that I kind of enter is really, really important for me to be true to myself. I had love in there as well, and love not in so much a romantic sense, but love in terms of loving other people, making sure that my actions are loving myself as an imperfect person. And also with that comes acceptance. So accepting myself as an imperfect person. Now, I don't know anyone who's perfect. I think we were created perfectly, but not with our own imperfections. And I think it's important to embrace our flaws, embrace the good, embrace the bad, embrace the ugly, because we're human, it's our experience. So love is really, really important for me. And if we can embrace and love ourselves as imperfect people, we are much more tolerant and non-judgmental and able to embrace and love other people as imperfect people. What I found really interesting about this exercise, and I do this with young girls that I work with as well, and with some women, is when you write down these values, look at how these values show up in your life. So here's an example. If you say that clarity is one of your top values, really, really important to you, how do you demonstrate this in your life? Because I'm a big believer that whatever you put out there, whatever you display, whatever value you are in alignment with, that will then come back to you. So here's an example. I said, how do you demonstrate this value? I demonstrate clarity in my instructions conveyed to colleagues and employees. So in one area of this person's life, they demonstrate clarity very, very well, very, very clearly. How can they demonstrate this more? I do not always ask for what I want in a relationship. This causes confusion. I need more clarity. So we may have a value that's really, really important to us in our life, but only be exercising it in one particular area of our life. So if that's a value is important to us, it's important to look at how we exercise this value in all facets of our lives. So this person, for example, is very, very clear in what they want and what they need at work, but when it comes to a relationship, they're stuck. So this person was able to look at this value and say, right, okay, I need to exercise more of this value in this area of my life, and begin to work on that. The third column says, how would having more of this value make you feel? So for this person, having clarity in their life makes them feel safe, makes them feel understood, happy that communication is positive. Feeling safe is, just talk about Maslow's law very briefly. Maslow's law is there are basic needs in life. I think there's 5 basic needs in life. And the first basic need is the need to feel safe, the need for shelter, the need for water. It's all about survival. So if clarity makes this person feel safe, then it makes absolute sense that this value is high on their list of priorities in terms of how it makes them feel. Okay, so that's values very briefly. With values, we also practice positive EFT on the actual day as well, where we actually tap into value, and we've had some fantastic results from that. It's again, one of the favourite group exercises. Step 2 is own my needs, wants and desires. What are the differences between needs, wants and desires? Needs are essential I can't say this word, is an essential prerequisite or vital necessity needed in order to survive a situation. So a need is an essential or vital necessity needed in order to survive a situation. So if this person is saying that clarity makes them feel safe, and safe is a basic need for all human existence, then it makes sense that clarity is something that needs to be worked on in this person's life. A want is something that we would like to have but can survive without. For example, I want a car. I can't drive. It would be nice to have one. But I don't need a car. It's not essential. It's not essential to my survival because I live in London. I live in South East London, and I have a wealth of London, London transport surrounding me. So it's not an essential need. It is a want. Although I don't think many people want to see me on the road, but it is a want. Okay, so desire is an add-on. It's a strong wish or yearning for something which is often unvoiced. There's been so many times I've worked with women who've said that, oh, you know, that they're just going to fill out their needs and wants and not necessarily their desires, because desires are just wishes. They're not important. But I think it's important to dream. It's important to wish. It's important, even if it's just knowing what our desires are, to have things in them. To fantasize and to dream and to want for more is a positive thing. Here's an example. In a relationship, for example, when I wrote down my needs, wants, and desires, it was a revelational thing for me to do, because not actually, I thought I knew them, but it wasn't until I wrote them down that I actually really knew them, and I really started to understand who I was and what was important for me, and who it is that I need to align myself with. Okay, so when I wrote down what do I desire, I thought, you know what, I'm going to go for it. No one else is reading this. I desire a partner who pampers me with massages and foot rubs once in a while. Nothing wrong with that. Now, I felt that I couldn't write that down, but actually, this is something that I'd absolutely love. That'd be fantastic. Now, if I was to meet a man who respects me, and have a partner who is reliable, a partner who is kind and generous and loving and affection, and a relationship that provides a relationship that is equal and based on trust. These are needs for me. But if they don't like feet and don't wish to rub them, then that's not a problem either. And it's important to make sure that we differentiate between our needs, wants, and desires. It's a desire. It's not something that is vital or necessary in order for a partner to have. So what I want you to do is in your PDFs or your manuals, I want you to look at your exercises here. It does, I think yours says, I need a partner who, if it does, you can change it to any facet of your life. This is what's great about this exercise, is that you can do it for work, you can do it for a job, you can do it for the health that you want. So what's important to you? You can do it for friendships. You can do it for anything. You can do it for an event that you're putting on. It's really important to have the vision and the clarity whenever you do or enter anything. So again, I'm going to give you just a few minutes to have a look at this exercise and write down one or two things under each heading. So what you need, what you want, and what you desire, just to be very, very clear about the differences. Now, I wonder if there's some ladies who are getting really, really carried away with the desires here. I'd love, if you want to share them, please do type them in the box and we can discuss them at the end. That would be fantastic. And the great thing about this exercise is it is for us, and we can get carried away. That's what desires are for. Okay, just another minute on this exercise now. Okay, what's really good about the first two exercises, it lays a solid foundation for us to when things are clear and they're written down and we've got them there, it's something we can keep checking in on. It lays a really sort of strong, solid base for us to keep referring back to. It's a good idea to keep checking back in with your needs, wants and desires and take note of where they are or not being met. I still have my needs, wants and desires that I wrote 2 years ago. I would say I'm in a different place in my life as to where I was 2 years ago. And as time has gone on, some of my needs and some of my wants have changed. And so it's important to keep updating and checking and looking and not just looking at how this person in your life or this situation in life is meeting your expectations or meeting your needs, wants and desires, but also when you are meeting these needs, wants and desires for yourself. So if you are saying you want to be in a job where you feel respected or you want a partner who respects you, look at where you are showing that value or you are showing respect to your colleagues or to your partner or within your family. Like I said, when everything is in alignment, when you are living these things start to manifest into your life. Don't keep them in a safe, keep them somewhere where you can, like I said, you can keep checking in, ask for what you want and need. Equally, like the values exercise, take note again as to where and how you're exercising these needs, wants and desires with others too. I cannot stress that enough. That's one of the big things here is where and how you're exercising these needs, wants and desires with others too. I've got here at the end, the world acts as a mirror and within it, it must be balance and equilibrium. Within it must be balance and equilibrium. Okay, are we ready for step 3? Brilliant. Okay, so step 3 is manifest my intentions. Manifest means to bring forth, to draw out, to make something happen, to create your intentions and bring them to life. It's a powerful word. So now that you've established your needs, wants and desires, you've looked at your values, it's very important now to start setting intentions. Each of us has so many good intentions, hopes and dreams for our lives, yet sometimes it seems nearly impossible to attain them. We spend so much time focusing on our problems and obstacles that we forget to leave room for that which we desire and intend for our lives. We lose sight of our values and our hope wanes as we become distracted with day-to-day problems. I believe that intentions are crucial if we choose to walk in our purpose and live the life we want. I'm going to read an excerpt from my book, Mr. Wrong, about intentions. As I said, the second half of the book is about a journey of introspection. It's about self-discovery and it's about progression. So this comes from chapter 9, Start With You, setting your intentions. An intention is a higher consciousness thought. It is a desire expressed with absolute faith that the outcome will transpire. An intention is an expectation simply handed over to the universe or God in order for it to be fulfilled. A bit like placing an order at a restaurant and then waiting for the meal to arrive. When we place the order or express the intention, we expect the meal to arrive. We don't hound or harass or follow the waiter into the kitchen to ensure they have placed the order correctly or get into the kitchen and start cooking it ourselves. We have faith that the order will arrive. Just as we say thank you when we place our order, and again when our order arrives, we must do the same with our intentions. Gratitude plays a role in intention setting. The great thing about intentions is their words voiced and expressed. The words that we speak carry the energy of sound. Everything we say, everything we hear has a vibration. Intentions that I've written down become such a positive and essential impact in my life that it's almost difficult to go through a day without thinking them. Every line has a rhythm. And here are some of my examples here. So I attract an abundance of love, peace, harmony, wealth, joy, happiness. I attract an abundance of love, peace, harmony, wealth, joy, and happiness. Whenever I read this, it almost becomes so part of my psyche. It becomes so ingrained in my energy and how I feel when I say these words that it actually starts to become true. When you say these words, it's important that, yes, you're focusing on the vibration, you're focusing on the way that it sounds, or you're focusing on the words that are being said. More importantly than that, I want you to focus on how it feels to have these things. How does it feel to attract or to have an abundance of love, an abundance of peace, an abundance of harmony, an abundance of wealth? And that's not necessarily material wealth. Wealth is all these things. A wealth of joy, a wealth of love, a wealth of harmony. How does it feel to feel joyful? How does it feel to feel happy? So as you speak these words, what you're doing is you're putting out that energy and sending out that intention, but you're also sending out that intention with the feeling behind it, which makes it a lot stronger. So I attract an abundance of love, peace, harmony, wealth, joy, happiness. I'm full of energy, vibrancy, and good health. If I could explain to you how many times I've had a migraine, or I don't often get ill, but I do sometimes get migraines, and this is a really, really important mantra, or a very important intention for me, where I feel that way to say. Even though I don't feel that way, even though I feel the complete opposite of being full of energy and having vibrancy and being in good health, I say these words. As I say these words, I feel my own energy lift. I feel the vibration. And I feel the positivity behind these words, and it starts to become true. Well, another one of my favourites is I'm open to receiving love. There is not a human alive that doesn't want to receive love. Studies show that the top 3 needs of people in a hospice on the last days said that the most important things were to be touched, to be loved, and to be held. There isn't a person alive who doesn't or can exist without love, I don't believe. So sadly, sometimes we block ourselves from receiving love. We may say that we want love, we may demonstrate love, we may give out love, we may love everybody else, but actually forget to show that to ourselves. Not only do we forget to show that to ourselves, we can actively get in the way of love coming towards us. And I put my hand up, I say I've been one of these people. So I say I've been brought up to be very independent. I've been brought up to do things myself, to the point where sometimes I overlook or I miss people that are trying to help. Often we say to ourselves that we're giving out all this love and we're giving all this to everybody else and we don't get anything back. But I think it's important to not just ask for love, to be open to receiving love. And this is one of my intentions. It actually comes with the action as well, which I'm not going to do. When you are saying these intentions, you can say them anyhow you wish. You can shout them, you can scream them, you can say them shout them in the mirror, you can sing them, whatever resonates with you. Another one which is important for me as well is the world is a beautiful place and I am exploring it all with excitement. This one's very important to me, especially as so many things going on in the news now. We can't turn on the television or read a newspaper or listen to the radio without hearing about a tragic event or something horrific that's happened, or the world news is just, it's not a good way to start your day. And there are so many things in the world. It's easy to think of the world as a destructive and negative place to live in, but it's actually not. It's the people's actions within it that cause it to seem that way. So I think it's, for me, it's really, really important for me to reinforce every day that the world is a beautiful place. There is so much to explore. There is so much beauty within it, and we are part of that beauty. And what I want you to do now is, in your workbooks or on your pad, I want you to write down a couple of intentions that are important to you, things that are going to be simple, things that are easy to read out. You don't want long paragraphs, you just want short, simple, sweet, short and sweet, simple lines that you can remember and you can say. You can do it for a different area of your life. You can read 5 out for a different area of your life a day, or you can read out 4 different areas of your life a day, if that makes sense. So one day you might want to focus on relationships, one day you might want to focus on health, or you might want to jumble them up. It's completely up to you. But what I would say is don't have about 50 intentions on your wall that then it becomes a chore for you to read out. Just have a few that you can remember and that you can integrate into your day-to-day life. Okay, just a few more seconds on this. The great thing about this workbook is you actually can go away and finish this off in your own time. Okay, brilliant. If you have any intentions that you've written down and you want to check or you want to write in the box, do that. That's absolutely fine. It's good to share and we can discuss and talk about things at the end. That would be brilliant. So as I said, there's a chat box on the right hand side, I think you can see. So any comments or anything that you want to write, you can write it there. That's brilliant. Okay, I really do strongly suggest to reading your intentions every morning or before you go to bed. It's great to do it in the mirror as well if you can. Because what you do then is you link the sound with the visual and the feeling behind it. Okay, I just want to introduce you to my lovely sister, Francesca Bleckner. She's fantastic. She's a fully qualified holistic fitness coach, personal trainer and yoga instructor. Part of 7 Steps to Creating the Greatest Version of You, you have the option to do an hour yoga bonus session at the end. What makes this different is that she allows you to focus on the intentions that you set during the workshop, and through breath work and movement, you focus on your intentions and integrate them physically as well as obviously emotionally and mentally. So you're using your physical mind. Oh. Okay. Okay, I'm just checking so that you can see the chat screen. So my sister, she uses the knowledge that you have used in your the 7 Steps to Creating the Greatest Version of You workshop, and through movement and breath work, you focus on your intentions, and it's just amazing. It's not only relaxing, but it just solidifies everything that you've learned during the 3-hour session, and she's absolutely brilliant. Now, I want you to rest assured that it's not the rude physical and the hard yoga. I have to say, my first experience of yoga was a couple of years ago, and I joined a class thinking it's going to be very relaxing, very zen, and I found myself doing upward dog, downward dog, and 20 different moves in what felt like a minute, and I was literally lying flat on the floor, wanting to sleep after about 10 minutes. It's not like that at all. It's very relaxing. It's very therapeutic, and what's great about her is she actually comes up and she shows you the physical adjustments. I can't recommend her more. She's fantastic. Okay, so that's my sister. Step 4 for me is they're all important, but this one I think is the key to everything. Every major religion talks about forgiveness. Step 4 is exercise forgiveness. Forgiveness is one of the hardest things to do, especially when we feel wronged, especially when we feel there's been a major injustice against us, especially when we feel that we don't want to let it go, because letting it go almost allows them to get away with it or makes the situation seem less valid. It doesn't make it seem less valid. Forgiving is for yourself, not for the other person. In saying that, forgiveness is for the other person in the sense that you let them go. When you hold somebody to something they did 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago, you're holding them still in that position, and energetically they are able to kind of break free from that. So you're not only holding yourself in bondage, you're actually holding them in bondage as well. I just want to read something from the exercise workbook here. This actually comes from the book Mr. Wrong as well, but then I want to share with you a story of forgiveness. Okay, so this is Love, Bless, Release. Sometimes we experience so much pain we find it difficult to let go. We find it difficult to forgive and move on, leaving us stuck in a negative cycle. Whatever the reason is, we're weighed down and filled with bitterness, resentment, anger, disappointment, and regret, whilst whoever hurt us is walking around as light as a feather, or perhaps continuing to treat others in the same hurtful way. Why are we carrying this baggage? Why are we carrying around their baggage? Hurt and pain are only inflicted as a result of others' insecurities. Why are we carrying these bags? What's in the past is in the past and must stay there. This is easier said than done. Sometimes we carry this burden, and believe you me, I've carried a heavy load for a long, long time, probably the cause of my back pain, because we're afraid to let go. We may feel that if we let go, we're allowing the other person to get away with it, or that we've become a walkover somehow by forgetting about it. But in essence, what we are doing is the opposite. We are finally moving on without the load, without the negative thoughts and feelings eroding our backs, our emotions and our souls. We also may feel that we cannot let go as we remain nostalgic about the past, that abuse or pain we endured becomes less valid if we let it go. We've allowed it to define us in some way, and we don't want to forget it. But in actual fact, what it's doing is making us move slower, making us weaker, bitter and lonely. Let the traumatic and painful part of your journey not define you, but serve as a tool to help you grow stronger and wiser, happier and lighter. Again, easier said than done. Remember, forgiving does not mean forgetting. It does not mean letting them back into your lives with the same circumstances, or at all for that matter. It means seeing that person as a human being who's made some terrible mistakes that helped you grow in some way, whether it is emotionally, physically, mentally, or spiritually. For in every challenge or difficulty, there is strength and wisdom to be gained. It means releasing that person and their negative energy. It also means releasing the negative energy you've internalized and freeing yourself. It means forgiving yourself for not feeling strong enough, being wise enough to react differently or act differently at the time. Once forgiveness is achieved, you can finally take the next step to finding true happiness. Without forgiveness, I believe you'll keep attracting the same circumstances, same lessons, and same type of person into our lives until forgiveness is learned. So I'm going to tell you a story about a forgiveness exercise I did. In 2010 or 11, I did a healing course, and part of that healing course was learning about forgiveness, and I learned a forgiveness meditation. Now, I had a horrible breakup with somebody. I hadn't spoken to them for about 10 months. I was walking around feeling so angry, and I'm not kidding you, my head was hurting, my neck was hurting, my back was hurting. There was no physical explanation for it. I knew it was emotional, I knew it was mental. I remember sitting at the bus stop one day, and I got the bus to work every single day, and I remember looking at this tree. I looked at this tree throughout all the seasons, watched the leaves drop off and watched the leaves blossom again, and not even realising that the leaves were blossoming. All I was doing was sitting there staring at this tree with the same thoughts going round and round and round in my head. Why did he do that? Doesn't he realise I feel like this? And I just remember every time I felt these things, it just became more and more part of my physicality and emotional well-being, or disease, shall we say. It became a part of me. It became like a record on loop that I didn't even realise was playing in the background. And it wasn't until something said to me, listen to your thoughts. What are you thinking? I was listening to my thoughts, and I started to think, I need to start analysing this. It's making me ill. If I continue with these thoughts, I will be an extremely ill person. And so I started to say, right, okay, is this thought serving me? Do I need this thought? Is this thought serving any purpose, any positive purpose in my life? And then I realised, actually, I don't need to be thinking anything at all. All I need to be thinking about is, right now, I'm sitting at the bus stop, looking at this beautiful tree, and all I need to think about is getting on a bus and getting to my destination. That's all. It really was that simple, but I'd spent all these hours and hours and hours and days and weeks of my life agonising over what I was going to say and how I was going to say it. Don't get me wrong, the speech I had prepared was articulate and beautiful. Definitely one that was going to hurt this person. And I realised, this isn't doing me any good. This happened 10 months ago. How am I still walking around with this pain? How am I still walking around with this energy? And on the way back from work, I got to the same bus stop when I was about to walk home, and I just had this terrible pain in my back and in my neck and in my head. And something said to me, right, look, you need to go to the park and you need to do this forgiveness meditation. I didn't want to do this meditation. I did not want to do this meditation because I wanted to go home and I wanted to still be angry and I wanted to go to bed because I felt so ill. So I just thought, you know what, I'm going to just do this. So I did this meditation. I sat down, found a tree, and I sat down, and beside me were two white feathers. And white feathers have a really spiritual and significant meaning to me. And I just felt at peace straight away. I sat down, I did this meditation, and I let this person go. It's a beautiful meditation. It's the same meditation that May reads at the workshop, and the meditation that's also in the book. So I did this meditation, and I let this person go. I let them go. And at the end of it, I felt tired, but I felt a lot lighter. So I went home, and then I wrote down all the things that I'd felt hurt by, and I let that go as well. And I wrote down, rather than focusing on all the pain and all the hurt and all the injustice, I wrote down how I wanted things to be with this person, that I wanted for us to listen to each other compassionately, for us to understand each other, for us to forgive and to move on and to respect each other's journeys. So I wrote this down. And the next day, and it was almost as if this had already happened in my mind, and I remember it so clearly, the phone rang, and without even picking it up, I knew it was this person. And when I picked up the phone, this person apologised for every single thing that I had written down, every single thing, and said some wonderful, beautiful things about me. But I realised, even though he'd said these beautiful things about me, that actually doesn't matter, because I'd spent all this time waiting to hear this and feeling I was owed this, and feeling that I needed to be told these things by this person to validate my existence. And it was only then when I realised, yes, these words are beautiful, yes, this apology is important, but more so what's important is me recognising that nobody defines you. Nobody validates you unless you allow them to, unless you enable that to happen. And I realised that actually self-love is about not allowing somebody else's treatment of you to define you, to affect you in such a way where you're walking around and agonising and obsessing over it. But it was beautiful. What was great was that, did you think I said that long speech that I'd spent 10 months preparing? No. All I had to say, and it was so simple, it was, thank you. Thank you. And I was able to look at this person as another human being, someone that I don't own, I shouldn't have any expectations of, as a human in their own right, and a person who has flaws, who makes mistakes the same as us, an imperfect person. And I was able to look at this person with compassion, and I just thought, what have I been doing for these 10 months? But it was something that I needed to go through. So forgiveness, again, like I say, it doesn't just set that other person free, it sets yourself free. There's a quote here, actually, from Sonia Choquette about forgiveness that really kind of put things in perspective for me, and it's, forgive and forget all that has hurt you in the past and made you doubt your lovability. Realise that hurt and disappointment are inevitable parts of our human learning experience. No matter how painful the real injury was, not that someone didn't cherish you, but that you erroneously believed that you didn't deserve to be loved. That last bit is so powerful, I think. No matter how painful the real injury was, not that someone didn't cherish you, but that you erroneously believed that you didn't deserve to be loved. So in this forgiveness exercise, I want you to think of someone who has hurt you in the past, or a situation. When you think of them, I want you to think or feel, how does it feel in your body? Do your muscles tense up? Does your throat become blocked with repressed emotion? Or does your brain start ticking about all the injustices you endured? Now is the time to let go. I want you to think of this person. What do you need to forgive them for? In your packs, you have a forgiveness list. I want you just to write down 3 or 4 things that you need to forgive them for. The importance of this exercise is sometimes we walk around so angry at somebody, and as the time goes on, we don't actually know what we're angry about before, or angry with them for. Again, writing this down gives clarity. It also allows us to put it in perspective. How important are these things? Am I able to let these things go? What significance do they have in my life? And also, what can I learn from those things? So I'm going to give you just some quiet time now, just with your pad or your work pad or in your mind. Think of a person and think about some things that you need to forgive them for and write them down. Okay, this is probably an exercise that it probably needs a lot more time for, so obviously a bit conscious of time. So again, this is something that you can do in your own space and time when you're ready. With this person, I think it's very important to think about, yes, look at the things that you need to forgive them for, but also the things that you can thank them for. The more gratitude we can show them in terms of who they are and who they were to us, or what they were to us, the easier it is to let go. Simple things. If you can't think of anything huge, think about small things. If a colleague has hurt you at work, or somebody that, you know, someone you need to forgive at work, think about something that they've done that's been nice. It could be, thank you for making a cup of tea this morning, or thank you for showing me how to turn my computer on, or if it's a partner who's hurt you, there's always something positive you can draw from that relationship. Another part of forgiveness is forgiving ourselves. Some of my forgiveness, I've got a list of things that I need to forgive myself, and I'll read some of them here. One is, I forgive myself for not honouring myself. I forgive myself for not recognising my own worth and value. When we start to do this, and I find this is even more powerful than having to forgive other people, but when we start forgiving ourselves, it almost becomes a sense that actually nothing can hurt us. Okay, so step 5 is nightly gratitude. Gratitude, again, is a very, very, very important aspect of the 7 steps and of living a positive life. So again, when you're putting your intentions out there, always think about things that are positive, things that are really good that are happening in your life. What things are there in life that we could be thankful for? When I am in the depths of despair, and I feel like the world's falling to pieces, or I feel like so much going on in the world that becomes almost, unbearable, I always start to think about what are the positive things going on in my life? What things do I have to be grateful for? I think just the more grateful we can be, the more we start to realise how much we do have, and the things that we start to look at, the things that we start to complain about in terms of the things that we don't have, pale into insignificance. I just want to read something short for you here. Part of this exercise again, which I want you to do in your own time, is to write down things that you are grateful for. So people in your life that you want to thank, things in your life that you are thankful for. And it's really important to look at this every night, because no matter what happens in your day, day full of trials and tribulations, at the end of the day, I think it's so important just to be so thankful for being here, and for this, even if the only thing you have to be thankful for is that person who smiled at you in the street, even if that is it, there is beauty in that. And the more we can recognise the beauty, the more the beauty I believe it will attract. So here's something that I've written down. This is what I read. I don't know, whatever your faith is or whatever your stance is, that's your personal belief, and I completely respect that. As long as I can remember, I've prayed to God and I've spoken out loud to the universe. So whenever I'm in the depths of despair, this is what I start with. Dear God, you can substitute this for universe, creator, source of all things, or whatever you believe to be the blessing behind your existence. I am alive. I am so grateful for my health. I have 2 eyes that work, a nose, a mouth. I have a voice, a body that moves when I want it to, 2 feet that can walk, 2 hands that can feel, a heart, a head, and an array of emotions. My body houses my soul, and my soul is deathless, timeless. This is just an experience, and I show you my utmost gratitude for it. It may be hard, it may be tough, but I'm alive. I thank you for giving me the strength of my ancestors who faced struggles and hardships that thankfully I can't even begin to imagine. I am so wondrously in awe of all that they endured, battled and overcame, so that I may stand here today with a voice, a strong mind, a power to exercise my rights. I will never be short of water, food, drink or shelter. Whatever I may be suffering, thank you that it is only temporary. I'm looking forward to better days and so much more. Now, when I read this, or when I say this, it gives me so much strength. You start off thinking about the basics. You've got a mind, you've got hands, you've got eyes, you've got feet, you've got arms that you can use, a fully functioning body. When I think about what my ancestors before me went through, I just feel like everything to me pales. Any issue I may be facing does pale into non-existence almost. My father is Jewish and my mum is Jamaican, and on both sides you have the Holocaust. I know my history in detail. I know what my ancestors went through. One of my great uncles went through 4 different concentration camps. I know his story. When I look at, on my mum's side as well, when I look at what they went through, we're standing on the shoulders of giants, and I just feel so grateful to be here. And I want to make sure that every single minute of this life, this journey, I'm using positively, and that just gives me so much strength. So no matter what I'm going through, I always go back to the fundamentals. Okay, so step 5 is the vision board. Reawaken your vision. So a vision board is a collection of images placed on a board. These are all positive things that you want to manifest. Use the affirmations and intentions that you write in your workshop. Use the affirmations and intentions that you've written down today. Imagine, the trick behind this is imagine how it feels to have these things. What emotions do they bring? Freedom, happiness, support. If there are no visual images of you in the media, create them. Here's some images here of the very first workshop. This lady on the right hand side is Janine Cumming, absolutely amazing young lady. When she did the workshop in May, she was in the process of writing her book. I helped her to complete and publish her book as well. I also book coach But as she was doing her vision board, she had an image and an idea of what she wanted on her front cover. So on the left-hand side is her actually gluing that image down. I wish there was a picture of her actually holding it up, but she's gluing the image down. And on the right-hand side is her 4 months later with her actual book published with the exact image in her hand, which is fantastic. Again, it's about having a crystal clear vision in terms of what it is that you can see. Before every event, everything I do, I always visualize it first. My sister, Francesca, is amazing at manifesting things. As you can see, her vision board is in the middle. She stuck pictures of a beautiful retreat that she wanted to go to. She also writes words and phrases on hers too. Beautiful wooden decking, you can see the green mountains in the background, and that was the kind of environment that she wanted to be in. And within 4 months, she got a phone call from somebody out of the blue asking her to come and work as a yoga teacher on this retreat in Tuscany, and she's actually going back in a few weeks. As you can see on the right hand side is the actual image that she showed me. She is the absolute master of sort of manifesting things. I've got a little way to go. I did one day I was messing around with the vision board. I put an engagement ring on mine once. The next day I went to Costa Coffee and the guy behind the counter asked to marry me. Wasn't quite what I was looking for, but again, it was a lesson in terms of being really specific about what it is that you're looking for. Is it that you want the ring, or is it that you want the relationship behind it? Okay, so my favourite here, step 7, is love, live and laugh. In your own time, I want you to write down, or while I'm speaking, 5 things that make you happy. Again, I want to bring this all back to happiness. Before I do that, I just want to recap the top tips. Okay, so values. Are you upholding these yourself? Align yourself with people and situations that reflect these values. I'll read it again. Align yourself with people and situations that reflect these values. Read your needs, wants and desires every morning. Remember to ask for what you need, want and desire. Vocalize your intentions daily. Imagine the feeling of receiving what you've asked for. Demonstrate nightly gratitude. Forgive all those that hurt you. Forgive yourself. Visualize your intentions, and most importantly, have fun. Okay, so going back to Live, Love, Laugh, I want to read you something from the actual workbook. This won't be in the workbook here, this is in the workbook you get if you do the workshop. Okay, what I've come to realise is that life is really short. It can be taken away from us without a moment's notice, and suddenly, not getting that job, being cheated on, or that argument with the ex becomes null and void. We think that we will live forever and that we are invincible, that our lives and what happens in them is so important. When this is all taken away or threatened, we realise that very few things are important. When I die, I want God to ask me, did you live enough? Did you love enough? Did you allow enough love in? Did you learn to forgive? Did you laugh enough? Did you have fun? For these are the basis of every bit of positivity we can create within our lives. Passing a bit of love onto another, even a stranger, can make their day. It can determine whether they take their lives that evening or tell someone they love them. It can determine whether they scream at their employees or bring cookies in to raise morale. We underestimate the power of a smile. Okay, so those are the seven steps condensed into a very small amount of time. And on a webinar. Again, I'm not the most technical person, but I hope you've managed to hear me and you've managed to see the slides and to gain something from this. What I want to do is to offer you something just for you, just for those who have attended the webinar, to say thank you very much for attending and bearing with me. And this is, as you know, the workshop will be held on Saturday the 10th of October. Okay, so it's a half-day workshop, 7 steps to creating the greatest version of you, and it normally is £37. And if you've done this webinar, if you're here today and listening, it's £30. This is live for 48 hours, so the deadline is Thursday midday. Thursday 7 p.m. The second offer is 7 steps to creating the greatest version of you group workshop with yoga with my sister at the end. And instead of 42, that is reduced to 37. I also do 12-week one-to-one exclusive coaching program. So that's one-to-one coaching with me. You'll get a 3-hour consultation to really highlight what your needs are and what it is that you want to gain out of this coaching. You get 1 hour fortnightly calls, specific tasks and exercises to complete, and email support around the clock. And that's normally $397, but for today, the next 48 hours, that's £247. If you're interested in that one, just drop me an email first so that we can just find out what it is that you're looking for and if we can work together. If you book 2 places, you get a free lifestyle and holistic fitness call with my sister Francesca Bleckner. All you need to do is get in touch. So register at tinyurl.com. That's tinyurl.com/greatestme to get those discounts. So if you click on that link, you'll be sent to the website where you can just book your tickets straight away. And again, the deadline is Thursday at 12 p.m, but I know we all work and we get busy, so I'm going to make it Thursday at 7 p.m. If you want to get in touch with me and ask me any questions about what I do, or talk to me about book coaching or the 7 steps coaching, email me at info@daniellableckner.com. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to change the slides and go to the chat box where I will put this information in, and if you have any questions, I'm going to be there for the next sort of 10 minutes or so to answer your questions. So I hope you've enjoyed this webinar, and I hope you have got something out of this, and I really, really wish you all the best, and in discovering and tapping into your own power, which you all have, we all have access to it, and I hope to see you all soon. Okay, thank you.